Hey dreamers, welcome back to a new video. Welcome back to a new tutorial. Today I'm gonna show you how to make clouds. No, not this cloud. Clouds. Those fluffy, beautiful suspensions of fine solid particles or liquid droplets in the air. Don't reel off them all. They just make the sky so beautiful, and I actually do love making clouds and use them quite a bit in my scenes, as you can see in a few examples in the background right now. Now in today's video I'll be showing you not only one or two but 3 different incredible techniques on how to make clouds from scratch in Dreams. All of them are fairly fast to do as well. Those of you who watch my streams have probably already seen me do 2 of these techniques, but I never showed the third one before, so let's jump right into it. Now, I didn't just want to use the basic block to start with, so I've actually set up this little landscape for this tutorial. Again, going a little bit for the Zelda Breath of the Wild style direction, just trying out a little bit as well. But you can of course use the clouds for any kind of style and purpose. So let's get started with the very first method. It's also my favorite one, which is basically just drawing clouds in the paint mode. This is a very useful way, especially to put it in the background and also to round up the levels. So we want to go into the paint mode and choose draw flags in the tools. This lets you draw thicker or thinner lines the harder you press the back button, which is R2 on the controller and T on the move controllers. Then I like to use all kind of gray colors to start with, at least. And now we just basically want to start drawing something that looks cloud-like, and I also like to use the splat flag. And you can also draw as many as you want to in just one single painting. I like to use 3 and also layer them a little bit different and give them different shapes, so we can use them in many different ways as well. Now once we have our assets here, we now go into the tweak menu and turn up the color amount to make them more white. But because we use the different gray shades, they still maintain some kind of shades within them, which I very much like. And I also want to turn on the shininess, the roughness here a little bit, and the waxiness, which lets the light come through more, and so the clouds actually also adapt the color of the sun and, you know, which light comes into the world, which looks very beautiful with the golden hour as well, just, red tones in general. What we can also do is go into the second tab and activate the looseness a little bit to make them even more fluffy. You can also stretch the flags, make them longer, or give them more impasto. I like to use a little bit of everything. You can also use the ruffle. Don't like using that too much though. And what you want to do, which is really important, is turn down the opacity. Now we can make them more white again, because this right here is quite a nice and warm day, I would say. And now we pretty much just start placing them. Can then also switch it a little bit around. You can just turn them completely, and with that we have some really nice fluffy clouds that you can also change, make some darker and some brighter, turn on the opacity on some. And yeah, this is pretty much the first technique. And what we can also do with those clouds is pretty much make them move. First of all, I would recommend you to put all of them into one group. So once you go into that group and you press double X, you can actually, you know, change the settings of all of them together. But also we can now take out the timeline, open it up, come a little bit closer, set a keyframe, stop the recording, copy that keyframe, connect those two together, edit the second keyframe and just make them move like that. And now when we play the scene, they will actually also move like that. And you can of course make it slower, make this like 5 minutes or however you want that, but in that way you can also make your clouds move. Also, just a quick another example here is really if we have like this sunset, you can see it here. You can also they just look really good if you just give them this high waxiness. Now let's come to the second method, which is 3D clouds. 3D are obviously a little bit different, but they can also really look pretty cool. For that we go into the sculpt mode, take out the sphere and go with the same, the gray colors again. Now we want to activate the stamp tool and also activate a bit of blending. You can also experiment with the shapes here. It's pretty much just, you know, you want to give it a nice cloud shape again. This again is really up to you how a cloud looks like in your mind and how you want it to look like as well. I like to give the 3D clouds, I like to give them a little bit of bumps here, which makes them look a lot more fluffy towards the end especially. Now I made 2 different examples here. Now we want to also again make them more wide, of course, which you can see it looks already straight away a lot more like cloud actually. You can also play around with the finish, make them a little bit shiny maybe. Waxiness always a cool thing. And for those, or in general, you can actually also make them glow a little bit. Now again, make a group out of them and now just pretty much clone them in different kind of ways. You can also put them together really nice here. Now for those 3D clouds, I would say it's especially useful if you want to make a whole, you know, cluster of clouds, and you can obviously still edit those as well. Maybe here make them a little bit glowing in the sky, looks also pretty cool. And you can also try around with giving them a different color straight away. Looks also pretty cool, I think. And what also works really well with clouds in general is using a spotlight with them. Just make it really big. And just a little bit here. Can also give them different colors. All looks really, really good. And you can also experiment with different images of the clouds here. Yeah, just like that. And now let's see how it actually looks when we give them a little bit more looseness. Also has an interesting look, definitely play around with what you like. Now let's come to the last method, which is quite a bit different from the other two, but also really interesting. For that we go into the gadgets and get out a Textless Player. The Textless Player, we always use it for things it's not supposed to. In the last tab we can activate in scene, which pretty much allows us to have it motion tracked within the scene instead of stuck to our screen. And then we want to type in a text. For this we just go with a little space here so it's actually shown in the scene. In the second tab we can deactivate the auto fit and make it quite a bit bigger than right now. And we also want to activate the curvedness to its fullest because we kind of want to have a circle. Now you can make this as big as you want to. It's probably better to make it bigger from the beginning instead of just scaling up the Textless Player, but yeah. After that we can just place it up high in the sky. Take your time with placing it properly. So as you can see, I have it really big up there in the sky. And now we can go on with the settings. So first we want to deactivate the show border and shadows option. And now we can go to the third tab, which is really interesting because now we can give it a texture in form of flex again. And the number 8 flag really looks like clouds already. With the texture strength, you can also play around, and same with the other different kind of options. Here we have an option pretty much to scale our clouds, how big we want our clouds to be. This is for the edges, just rounding it up a little bit. And here we just want to choose our color, go with a brightness again, and the most important option here is to go with the opacity again. Turn the opacity down as much as you want to, and play around with the color again, the brightness, and just all settings. This technique is also nice to use in combination, especially with the 2D technique, if you do more 2D clouds in the sky as well. And just round it up a little bit, and I also recommend to actually have the opacity quite low. Now here's a last look at the clouds that we made with all the different techniques. I think all of them are really interesting and good looking in a way, and they definitely all have their positives and negatives. Personally, I still enjoy the 2D clouds the most to make and use the most as well. But it's really up to you. Let me know what's your favorite technique, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, some feedback, and definitely make sure to share it with other dreamers so they can learn these techniques as well. You can also send me your screenshots of the clouds that you made on Instagram or Twitter. And yeah, with this, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.